Yes! The Bride. So it's been the last few years for Frankenstein IP, hasn't it? We had Creature Commandos, have The Bride and the Frankenstein monster, Eric Frankenstein in there. Just had Guillermo's Frankenstein come out last year, up for a lot of Academy Awards, and we now have Academy Award winner and who's likely going to be Academy Award winner, Christian Bale and Jesse Buckley in The Bride. Another retelling of the Frankenstein mythos focus more on the Bride of Frankenstein than the Frankenstein monster himself. But make no mistake about this, while it is her story, it is also his story as well. He is the co-lead of the movie. He's the main male lead of the movie. Right out the gate, me and my girlfriend both, weirdly enough, we're comparing this to Wuthering Heights. It's a romance in many ways. It's also, whereas Wuthering Heights was hedonistic and horny, it wasn't sexy. This movie actually does have a sex appeal to it in its own way. This movie has a far better romance than those two. So it does work a little better as a romance. We very much enjoyed the movie, but last I checked, and I could be wrong, and this could have changed since I last checked. Let's find that out right now. Let's see here. Nope, that's not what I want. I want my bookmark page. Where's my bookmarks? Bookmarks. There we go. Last I checked, it was at a 62% from the critics. I hadn't seen an audience score yet. So let's see if that has been updated at all now. Let's see. The Bride, Monstrous. And the way she says it in the trailer, there's actually a reason for that. That wasn't just for like, oh, she sees. Wow, the audience and the critics are almost unanimous in this. 60% of it's gone down. 60% of the critics liked it, which means it's still a majority positive. 65% of the audience currently likes it. How many is that out of right now? Because that seems little. I mean, I'm not saying this is like the greatest movie in the world or anything like that. I would have expected maybe a little bit more than, say, a 60%, though. Or 65%. But how many votes is on this right now? That's the question. Because I still stand by Hoppers will be the number one, but I stood by this will be number two. There are over 100 verified reviews. So, I mean, that could still go up or down a little bit depending on the rest of it. But that all said, I'm not surprised it's a mixed bag on this movie. While me and my girlfriend certainly enjoyed the movie, we actually had a really good time with it. It's a really interesting retelling of the Frankenstein mythos. The acting's fantastic. Jessie Buckley, you can now see why she deserved to be nominated for Hamnet. Because she has to do a lot in this movie based on the way this character is kind of being directed. This comes from the fact that, well, I'll get to that in a little bit, but the acting's really good on both sides of the fence. Christian Bale really is capturing the fact that Frankenstein is not, I mean, he's a monster of our own making, but he's not an evil character. Almost no version of Frankenstein is, in fact, an evil character. And throughout most of this movie, he is not an evil character. He's had to do things he does not like. He hates the fact that they're on the run. Honestly, he hates the fact that he got her in trouble and now they're running together. But he is more or less just a gentle person who is just lonely. He is literally, I think he even says, I was dying of loneliness. And that might actually not be metaphorical. That could actually have been literal based on some of the stuff we kind of see in the movie. But they're great. All the acting is really great. I do like the 1930s tone. I think they say this is 1936, if I'm not mistaken. Though I do question some of that, because at one point someone makes a comment about astronauts, and we didn't go to space until the 50s/60s, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, the Bride. Let me see if I can find when the actual time frame of this movie is supposed to be, because it feels like the 1930s. Yeah, 1930 Chicago. Guy mentions astronaut. I know we had like George Malay's Journey to the Moon and stuff like that. So maybe the term astronaut did exist way before we went to the moon, but that just seemed like an out of ballpark kind of term to throw around for the 1930s. Especially the way he said it, like, hey, you're coming by female astronauts. Like, what? But there's also some weird surreal world things going on here, like people getting pitchforks and torches in New York City. Like, do you just suddenly have random pitchforks and torches in New York City? Like, that seemed a little off. That all said, despite the quality acting, the performances, like I said at the beginning, I can see why this film is mixed. Because it is mixed totally. It has like I think I said it in the out of the theater reaction, but it has like 3 different modes. It has the thought-provoking like loneliness of 2 monsters just trying to exist and have companionship. It has this message of feminism very strong and going through it. And then you take these serious notes out of the equation, and it's got this weird wackiness that something like Shape of Water had, where it just randomly goes into a dance number at one point. And here's the thing: we see these shots of like him and Frankenstein in movies. Frank, as she calls him, in like movies, he's like imagining himself in the movies. But there's a musical. You see it in the trailer. There is a dance musical number. It's mostly just a musical number. A dance number that I think, because you see people starting to start moving around. I'm asking the question of, are we in the Mask right now, where people are suddenly becoming possessed? Because there's no rhyme or reason to why that would happen, even based on the plot point we get at the beginning of the film. Which I know that I had heard this was the case, but I'm not going to spoil it. Needless to say, this film does not start where you think it starts. Like, it doesn't start with the bride herself. No. I mean, yes, but no. There is something else going on before the bride involving a character we did not know was going to be in the film. And just how prevalent that character actually is a part of the film in their own way. So, yeah, it's because of that, this dance number comes out, and I'm thinking, okay, this is all in his head. And then the cops come in to break it up, and I'm like, oh no, this was actually happening. Pardon? Wait, they just broke in the dance? Okay, I leaned over to my girlfriend, she laughed, and I says, like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm here for it. I'm enjoying the sequence. So it does rotate a bit throughout, not even rotate, it just kind of goes back and forth between the story it's telling to a different story, and then the story it wants to tell again, but then another type of story. There's like 3 different types of stories going on in this movie, and I can see why someone might not like the structure of that film or style of film. I will also say, that I wouldn't say the film drags. The movie's only 2 hours and 7 minutes long. I wouldn't say the film drags in like the last 30 minutes, but the pacing seems a little bit off at that point in a chunk of the last quarter of the film. It seems just a little off. And I'm not sure how I can put my finger on it. It just seems like maybe they're trying to speed up some things. And I mean, that's fine. Maybe just the pacing didn't work well in the first half of the film for them or something like that. Other than that, I don't really have any real criticism. And even that was less criticism, more things I noticed and maybe just kind of stuck in my head a little bit. Because otherwise, it's I think a well-told story otherwise. You get these 2. So one was a woman who she wasn't quite happy where she was in the world. But the other, and then she ends up, being resurrected, and him just wanting a companion and just not really knowing how to interact with people very well, simply because people are scared of him. And then like and meeting the woman who it's who is it? What's the name of the actress? Annette Bening. Annette Bening is actually kind of the Victor Frankenstein in this movie, or Doctor. If oh God, if we're not Ephronis. Um, yeah, like so she's kind of wacky in her own way. Um, that said, if there's one other thing I will say that I'm not a fan of, just like what was the point? Is that Jake Gyllenhaal? Yeah, I thought Jake Gyllenhaal was going to be the Dr. Frankenstein in the trailer based on how the trailers were portraying him. No, it's not Dr. Frankenstein. He's just an actor. He's just a random dude in this movie. Now, because his sister's the one directing, I think that's why he got a part in the movie. And look, his scenes are his one real scene is fine. It's he's he plays an actor, so we really actually see him mostly on the big screen of the movies Frank is watching. Um, yeah. So yeah, it's I'm like okay, great, but ultimately unnecessary. Otherwise, though, this isn't. Again, I give them credit. It is a very unique retelling of the Frankenstein mythos. It does stand on its own as something different than what we like. It's very different from Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. It's different than something like The Bride. It's different than something like what was it? What was it? Something Lisa Frankenstein, which I'll be honest, I saw that trailer and I'm just like, what? I either way. Um, so yeah, like it is its own thing, while still kind of keeping true to the roots of the original story to whatever degree. So on that front, I enjoyed it, and I would say if you are still interested in this movie, give it a shot, give it a watch. It's real. I enjoyed it. It might not be for you, but you won't know until you actually decide, watch it and figure it out. Anyway, though, I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one.